Welcome to the Jones Gallery Lecture Series. I'm Sarah Jones, the curator at Jones Gallery. We're a contemporary art gallery in St. John, New Brunswick, and our core mandate is to present work by contemporary Canadian artists, but art education is also important to us, and we think that art history should be accessible, understandable, and free. That's why we hold public lectures at the gallery and produce videos like these. To keep this series free and open, we rely on the donations of our viewers. Today's video is brought to you by Andrew, Lisa, and Jane. Thank you for your generous support. If you would like to support our efforts in this, please donate at jonesgallery.ca/arthistory, and the link will be below in the notes to do that. Up today, I am discussing Monet's series of Grainstack paintings. There's sometimes, just a little note, there's sometimes mistranslated or translated to English as haystacks, but that's actually a bit of a mistranslation from the French. They're really anything but hay. So hay would have been something that the animals ate, and stacked in these structures would have been other types of grain, so corn or something else. So it's a better word is Grainstack. So just a little kind of nitpicky tidbit here, but this is one of Monet's first series of paintings. He did experiment a bit with doing a series of paintings on a single motif, but that last series was on the Gare Saint Lazare, and it was quite. It had much more range than the Grainstack series or the Poplars or the Rouen Cathedral series, and it's almost as if his sales started to be quite good with the Gare Saint Lazare series, and he was kind of realized the potential behind the marketability of painting in a series. And I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But this was the first one where it's really all pulled together, unifying around this kind of image. And so what we have here is one called Grainstack Sunset, and these were a common structure, kind of a regional aspect to the Normandy landscape. This kind of a cone shape with a peaked thatched roof, as it were, kind of structure was very common in the Normandy landscape, and that, of course, is where Monet spent a great deal of time. During these years. This would have been probably in a neighbor's field, we think. So close to his home. He painted them 1888, 89. He did about 25 of them in the series. And just interestingly, this is one of the series you can see really all over the world. This particular painting is in the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. I've talked previously about how much I like the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. Man, they have a good collection in Boston. But also the Art Institute in Chicago has a number of them, the Met in New York, and then, of course, the big art museums in Paris. But Scotland has a good one. A museum in Tokyo. They're all over the place because, like I said, there are 25 of them. So they've reached quite far around the world. So you can usually catch one if you're in a major city somewhere. And what is driving Monet with this particular series is he's looking at the changing effects of light, the changing effects of the seasons. How does the temperature and kind of I don't know if it's too hard to word, or too strong a word to say structure, but the effects of the light varying from summer to winter, varying from sunrise to sunset. And we'll see that in some of the examples that I've chosen. So let's move away from this one. Here we go. This is Grainstack, early evening. So look at the color difference here. And Monet talks about what he's trying to achieve here, and he said once that for him, landscape doesn't exist as landscape because it's always changing. So it's almost a kind of a slate upon which he can imagine or can try to capture the changing effects of the light. And I think this one's a good, this one here of the evening sun is a good one to take a look at Monet's impasto technique. So impasto means thick paint, where you can actually see the brushstrokes and see the paint making little ridges on the canvas. There's a three-dimensionality to it. One critic wrote that Monet's work, it was almost like the canvas is being built up like an architecture. So it's like a city is built, and Monet builds the paint up on his canvas. And notice how the Grainstack here, where the sun is striking the opposite side of the haystack. I said haystack. Oops, Grainstack. The opposite side of the Grainstack here, and so the shadow is rendered in kind of a purple, maroon, blue, whereas this previous one, the shadow is rendered in kind of green and orange and red. This one is a stack of wheat stacks at the end of summer. Look at those long shadows. And you can see here that he's not looking at the same Grainstack time after time after time. So he's kind of modulating the composition slightly. So the idea that he's not quite to the idea of depicting a fixed object and then painting that fixed object again and again and again. So he does that with the Rouen Cathedral, the Rouen facade, where he paints the same vantage. He paints from the same vantage point, the facade again and again and again, and it's just simply the light that changes. So here it's the motif of the Grainstack stays the same, but he is moving around the field a bit. And there's a great story about Monet had his by this time his first wife Camille had passed away, and I can't remember if he was remarried at the time or just if they had just moved in, but he remarries the wife of actually an avid collector of his. Her name was Alice, and her husband went bankrupt first, and it was kind of a big tale, and he eventually died, and then Monet married his widow, Alice. And Alice had a kind of a gang of children that then came to live with Monet. They actually lived together. It's quite complicated. They lived together before that the husband died, so kind of a fraught situation. But there's kind of a gang of kids around Monet, and the story is that he would send one of his new daughters kind of scurrying back to the house to bring him fresh canvases because the light was changing so much, and he had to start afresh or start a new painting to capture the change of light. Here's a winter scene. And look at this, how there's no direct sunlight in this one compared to, say, this one, for instance. So you can see those long shadows. And the winter light is very different, very cool. The elements of the background are reduced to almost kind of suggestions of trees, suggestions of structures. The ground is rendered in kind of short brushstrokes of color, so that nothing is really blended as such. But there will be a stroke of blue next to a stroke of brown, next to a stroke of white, and that's all compiled together is creating the feeling of the scene. Monet wrote this to a friend. He said, this is a little bit about his work ethic. I'm grinding away obstinately at this series of different effects. So he's talking about the Grainstacks at the time. But at this time of year, the sun goes down so fast that I can't follow it. Yeah. So again, that he's not so focused on the subject itself, but on the changing effects of the light. And the longer I paint, this is Monet again, the more I see the work that is needed if I'm to get down on canvas all the things I want. he writes that it was the instant, and above all, the surrounding light, the same light spread everywhere around. So just Monet articulating exactly what he's trying to achieve here in this letter. And this, I love this story too. So as I kind of alluded to this at the beginning of the video, that they were coming to understand, or Monet especially was coming to understand the marketability of working in a series. And this is really new. I mean, now when we go into contemporary art galleries, like all of our artists work in series usually, that there's kind of an overriding theme or motif that draws it all together. And that works well for art sales, because if you have, like, say, Monet having this exhibition of 25 Grainstacks, this is a new style, new technique. It takes that first art collector who sees something in the work and wants to buy it. He's okay, I'm going to buy this one, Grainstacks at Sunset. And then you can imagine a slightly more timid art collector coming in and seeing that sale. Well, somebody sees something in this. I'd like another Grainstack. I'll take that one over there. So it diminishes the risk, as it were, to purchasing kind of a new and avant-garde work. And again, you can, so say, picture there was an artist who was working in kind of disparate themes. So let's say Monet was exhibiting the Grainstacks with some portraits and with some scenes of boats, and this brave collector comes along, buys the Grainstacks, and then the timid one says, well, maybe this collector is seeing something particular about the Grainstacks. I better not buy that seascape, right? So it's this, not to make it all about commercialism, but I think there is this convenient coming together of personal interest and personal vision here in the case of Monet, that he was genuinely, this was a genuinely good subject matter for it to explore the effects of light, but it was also good marketing. It had the effect of multiples, right? But it retained the originality. So each painting is unique enough, but you're kind of part of a set. Okay, now back to this. So there also kind of begins at around this period of commercial galleries and commercial art dealers starting to open and work in Paris. And this is one, Léon Boussaud, and he's an art dealer. And Monet supposedly had an exclusive arrangement with Boussaud. And he writes, he's writing to his partner. You will also find so this is a shipment that he's sending back to his partner. You will also find a certain number of paintings by landscape artist Claude Monet, who's beginning to sell a bit in America. So that's why all the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, the Art Institute of Chicago, there's a ton of Impressionist work in the United States. But he does too much. He's painting too much. We have an agreement to take his entire production, and he's beginning to overstock us with his landscapes, always the same subjects. So this particular art dealer wasn't so keen on the marketability of this. So just remember that this is supposed to be Monet's exclusive dealer, right? He's supposed to be taking on his entire stock. Oh, this is one of the art galleries in Paris. This is what it would have looked like around this time period. And then this is Monet writing to another art dealer, Durand-Ruel. So he, the other art dealer, took several, and I was only able to just keep hold of my Grainstacks. So Monet saying that maybe he's kind of working both sides, right? That the original art dealer saying there's too many of these stupid Grainstacks, and Monet is saying to the other one, Durand-Ruel, that I'm holding the good stuff back for you. So again, he's not. We kind of have these visions sometimes of these artists being actually purists and existing for their art, but commercialism is always. There's always, unless artists are kind of independently wealthy, unless there's a kind of a Kaibot situation, sales are very, very important. And he actually did. These sold very, very well. his prices began to rise. And he, in fact, was able to fund some of the construction and the purchase of the property at Giverny. So that his famous gardens and the place where he spent out the rest of his life, and that the Japanese bridge and the lily pond, thanks to the Grainstacks. And this final painting that I'll show you, this one sold recently at Sotheby's auction house. Broke a bunch of records. It sold almost for $111 million. So it had been in one art collection. There was a collector who bought this and a number of other stacks from Durand Ruel. So him, Durand Ruel. And this had been in that collection, private collection, and was just recently sold. And personally, this isn't my favorite. Sotheby's described it as the finest Grainstack, but I don't know Sotheby's. I prefer if I was going to spend $100 million on a painting, I'd probably buy one of the winter ones, personally. I think this one's a little garish, but no, it is quite lovely. Look at that. It has those diagonals and kind of that swooping, the landscape does. It's kind of, the stacks make a nice kind of curving off to the horizon here. So it is nice. But, well, to each their own. So thank you very much for watching. As always, you can support the lecture series by contributing at jonesgallery.ca/arthistory. Technical support by Caleb Jones.